Kentucky bird.
All right, guys.
$3.
One day,
Same tree.
Same tree.
Oh my God, I'm so
Woo!
Holy shit! Get a shot of these.
2 farms this year. Number 1 is done.
Did you say bye, Kevin?
I did. I already did. Bye, Kevin.
Bye, Kevin.
Bye, Kevin. Bye, Kevin.
Smoked it, buddy. Look at that. You destroyed it.
Joey takes
The shop is closing up.
Make sure he takes all his right antlers. Well, all right, guys. Deer Shop Podcast, episode 41. Tonight you have me and Ethan, kind of a skeleton crew. It's Sunday night, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, and you're going to be listening to this on Monday morning, the 6th. This one will be airing. We're going to talk turkey hunting today. We got a couple good turkey hunting camps to talk about, and then we're going to go over some of the our thoughts on the local population here because things are just out of whack right now.
Lack thereof turkeys.
And we definitely want to kind of touch on that a little bit. Now that turkey hunting is the main thing that's happening in our world right now. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify or any of the podcasting apps, please leave a review on the episode. Give us some stars. Tell us what you think, good or bad, indifferent. For on YouTube, like the video, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. It really helps us out. We're going to start off by diving right into Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky. It's one of my favorite states now, I think.
Yeah, you guys have definitely, you and Dylan have definitely been building something really cool down there in Kentucky. And you've now killed a gobbler down there 2 years in a row. Dylan got one last year. You got one this year.
My first bird.
Yeah, it's your
First big bird.
Yeah, because your other one, this is your first bird.
A little bit of a difference.
A little bit of a difference. This is your Jake you shot, what, last year?
2 years
2 years ago?
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll have to give us a rundown in Kentucky. You guys started off by hunting some public land down there in the past.
Yep.
Dylan, we've been down there. Dylan's been down there, a couple different areas, and then you've slowly evolved into getting permission on a couple different private pieces, which has resulted in all this action that we've had. But I'll let you take that away.
Yeah, so I was down there last September, early season deer hunting. Got a permission piece on private 200 acres, big ag field, and nice woods. And me and Dylan decided we wanted to turkey hunt it, and we got down there, and there was birds pretty much all over it. First night, we got close to some birds, about 100 yards, and we let them roost for the next morning. And then next morning came, had the bird roosted, and then he followed some hens down to another big pasture that we cannot hunt, and it's actually this bird sitting right here. We watched him all morning, and then we let him be. We came back at like 5 p.m., and we're trying to set up on him, and there was different birds in the field because he was still down on the place that we couldn't hunt. And we didn't know he was still down there at the time. So we snuck down the river bottom, and got set up on a different set of birds, which they took off, and then we called him in 500 yards across the field, over a river and up a hill, and I smoked him about 30 yards for my first gobbler.
Yeah, it's the first thing you've killed with your new 410.
Yep.
Little
pea shooter.
Pea shooter. Small, single shot 410 that weighs, 2 pounds or something?
It's nice carrying on public land, though. We walked 13 miles and didn't even feel like we had a gun on us.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like not having a follow-up shot. Like that part kind of...
Yeah, but you have your second guy.
Yeah, that part kind of sucks. But, I mean, it is a nice little gun.
I'm always turkey hunting with someone. I'm never by myself. So if I do miss, the second guy can back me up.
Yeah, this is the same property where you did a lot of filming for the first episode of the Deer Camp Chronicles. You went down there. We were hunting some velvet bucks the first weekend. Then the second weekend, they had shed their velvet. But there was the same group of bucks in that bean field you hunted last year. Got kind of close. Would you say 60, 70 yards?
Yeah, I videotaped him in the spot that we killed the turkey.
Yeah.
Same corner, same field.
I have a question. The mineral lick that you set up down there, is that the same stump where you did your interview?
It is. The same exact stump.
Yeah, there's a hen standing on it this morning. You see that?
Perked up.
Yep. So that's been pretty cool. He set up a mineral lick while he was down there.
Yeah, we're getting pictures of all sorts of deer.
Yeah, and they've been his mineral lick down there has been hot. We've already got a couple of different bachelor groups of bucks, some lone bucks, some does. Turkey's been walking by. It's just been a good little spot for a camera.
There's deer there right now.
Cool.
which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys did some hunting on the public land down there and got on a bunch of birds.
Yeah, we got
right
on.
throughout the day.
If anyone knows anything about turkey hunting in Kentucky, it's all ridgetop birds. They're at the top. You have to get up there, and then you have to figure out a plan to kill them. And
Yeah.
they don't
On the public land.
and they don't like to move very much. So like calling them in, you got to sneak up on them, call them in over a hilltop, and it's tough.
Yeah, Kentucky's been killing it on social media as far as, number of birds being killed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a lot of people have been killing birds down in Kentucky. It's been a good year for that state.
Not a good year for us in Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio, we've already had a couple different turkey podcasts. We had the one last week where we talked about the recurve bow missing and the birds getting poached. And I think there is still a bird left in that group, one or two birds in that group, but they've been very quiet, not gobbling much. I think I'm going to get back on hunting those birds up here this week. I've been kind of giving the birds up here a rest. I haven't done much hunting at all. Me and you and Matt actually went out to a spot Matt has permission on, about an hour south of where we are here in the deer shop. And we got on some good bird. We got on two good birds there that were gobbling well, and were coming in, and they ended up getting taken away by a real hen. But that was a real good hunt. But we drove around the rest of that morning. No strutters in fields. Still nothing here on the home farm.
And the mosquitoes down
Yeah,
there.
if you're watching the YouTube version of this, Ethan doesn't have scabies. He's just like
itching.
He's itching every little mosquito bump on his body because we got destroyed by mosquitoes down there hunting with Matt. It was rough. But we also, Ethan, while they were doing their Kentucky trip, me and Big Chris, Little Chris, and Isaac went to their new cabin down in southern Ohio, the Gore Camp, as we call it, or the Gore Farm. This one's the Gore Farm. And did our first inaugural turkey camp down there. We decided this year that we're not going to West Virginia. We're going to hunt the farm in Ohio because there's a lot of birds, and there was a lot of birds. The first day, we got on a group of gobblers. Later in the morning, they were gobbling on the roost, but real far. Later in the morning, we got on a group of gobblers. We weren't able to call them across this creek and ravine. Me and Big Chris struck them up at first, called to them for about an hour. They weren't budging. Very little movement. Then Isaac and Little Chris went in between us and started calling. And they were able to get within 70 of the hen, and Isaac said about 100 of the two gobblers or three gobblers. I think he saw three at that time. But they worked their way up over hill, property we can't be on. The next morning, we set up closer to where those birds were roosted. And it's in the video. I think it's called Gobbler at 5 Steps or whatever. You'll be able to see on the YouTube channel. Ethan's hunt's also up on the YouTube channel, by the way. So if you check that out, they're both these hunts we're talking about are on the YouTube channel. But we set up early morning. I thought I may have heard a distant gobble, but we were definitely hearing a bunch of gobblers across the river on permission piece we don't have, or a piece of ground we don't have permission on. And we set up where we kind of were calling at the birds the day before, and we sat there for about a good half an hour just calling real lightly, sporadically. There was no action, and all of a sudden there was a gobble below the ridge, probably about 50 yards, muffled because it was over the ridge. So we all spun, got set up. We thought it was a jake. The way the gobble sounded, we really did think it was a jake. We all got set up. Chris was in the front as a shooter. I was in the back to kind of shoot off to the side, and Isaac was filming in the middle. And naturally, those birds gobbled again, 25 yards behind us, closer to Isaac, who didn't have a gun, on my left side, which I couldn't swing. And they ended up working a food plot behind us, got within 5 steps. There was 4 longbeards. Surprised the hell out of me. I thought they were jakes. And then just based on the sound of the gobble, I thought it was a jake. Turned over my right shoulder and looked, and I just saw 4 beards flopping as these birds were working through the food plot that we planted last year. And as soon as they got behind a bush, I went to swing my gun over on their side, but there was more birds farther up in the gap that I didn't see. They had a better view of me. They saw me, and they instantly putted and took off flying. Instant flying, which tells me there's a lot of coyotes and bobcats, which we have been getting
Quick
a lot.
movements, yeah.
We have been getting a lot of bobcats on camera walking in our strut zones for turkeys on the show camera. So we know that the bobcats are out there, putting an ambush on the gobblers, but they took off flying instantly. 3 of them made it off the ridge quick and were gone. 1 hit a tree, came back down, and was running around trying to figure out another good place to take off flying in the food plot at like 40, 45-ish yards. And I sent 2 at it, and they were ill-advised shots on a running bird. And it was frustration more than anything. and I sent 2. And we did find a little bit of blood and some feathers, but Chris watched the bird fly off, go across a ravine 400 or 500 yards, land, and then he started gobbling about 25, 30 minutes later on his own. All the birds started gobbling again about 20 minutes later individually. We went down and tried to look just in case in the valley for a dead turkey. Didn't find anything, obviously. And then all 4 birds ended up working themselves back together. We left those birds. They were gobbling on the side of the hill, the same place they were the morning before when they wouldn't cross the creek. They were gobbling over there. So we actually left for about an hour, went and called in a different area, had no response. We could hear distantly these birds that we were hunting gobbling, or the ones I had shot at gobbling. So we decided to go back and set up. We went back. I did a little bit of light calling on a slate call, and about 10 minutes later, Isaac said he heard a gobble below the ridge at about 100 yards. Definitely on our side of the creek, definitely heading our way from where the birds had been gobbling. So we got set up again. I was facing the food plot this time in case they went out in the open. Chris was facing the ridge top in case they stuck their head over. Isaac in the middle filming. And they did end up closing, and they gobbled at about 30 yards, still over the lip of the ridge. 2 gobblers did stick their head up to where Chris could have shot, but he would have killed both of them. And they must have seen some movement, cameraman or Chris move with his gun real quick, because they putted, went down over the edge, and then worked their way off gobbling away from us. I tried to walk away and call to try to entice them to come back, and they just kept going. And they ended up making their way down to one of our trail cameras at around 11 o'clock, one of our cell cameras. And but we did not end up pursuing them any farther. But we were able to call those same birds in twice, even after shooting at them, which is crazy. But I've done that before. I've never called them back to the same place I've shot at them, but I've killed, me and my buddy Ernie, a couple. It was actually both the birds. One of the birds that I shot is mounted up in the shop on the other side. I shot a bird in the morning. We called in 2. I shot one. A second gobbler flew off. We gave him about 20 minutes. Went towards the direction he came from. We were able to strike him up again and ended up calling him in and killing him about an hour later. So it is possible to bring these birds back.
Back in the good old days.
That was back in the good old days, which is what we're kind of going to get into now. You know, we had that great hunt. Me and Dylan had that great hunt opening day close to here. 2 birds. One of them ended up getting poached. The other one that's been hanging out has been real quiet ever since. You know, we've said on this podcast multiple times, there's no birds here on our home farm. So we're sitting here at the deer shop where I've killed 15 gobblers in my life, you know, out the back door here. Multiple times we've killed multiple birds in a year. There's none. There's not a single gobbler. No trail cameras, no evening gobbles, no morning gobbles. We've hunted, not seen anything. Neighbors haven't seen anything. I mean, there's just no evidence of gobblers.
You drive around with nothing.
Drive around and check out the fields. Nothing. There's just no gobblers here. And it's really hard to explain. The habitat hasn't changed much directly right here. Within a couple miles of here, the habitat has started to change. You know, there's more housing being put in. Tree rows are being taken out by farmers. That's a big thing that's happening in our area now. Every little tree row in between fields, or a finger that has some trees in it that's a drainage.
Can't farm trees, they say.
They're taking all the trees out. So now instead of a broken up 50-acre field with some fingers of trees going through it, it's just one straight square, no cover. When they harvest in the fall, they till the ground up immediately, so it's just a mud field until the next spring. Mm-hmm. I know the farmers are doing what they got to do to survive around here. America's expensive to feed, but what they're doing with the tree rows and stuff, I think is destroying all the turkey nests and habitat. But I do believe that's secondary to potentially cold, wet springs. They say will have an effect, but cold, wet springs have been a thing forever. You know, maybe there've been a couple recently that are colder and wetter. A lot of turkeys around here roost in the river bottoms, and if the river bottoms flood, which they have tended to do in the spring every couple years, you know, all those nests are destroyed, and we lose that whole entire crop, unfortunately. But I still think, and we've touched on this before, I've touched on it on some other podcasts that I've been on, I still think the nest predators are the number one reason why things are the way they are here. There's lots of deer hunters in the area we're in here, and a lot of guys are hunting small properties, crossbows, corn piles. We've talked about it 100 times. Crossbows, corn piles, small 5-10 acre pieces of property. Every single guy has a corn pile out. No one's trapping raccoons. Some people are killing them here or there, you know, maybe even illegally in the summertime. Some people are trapping them out of their barns and stuff, but we're making zero dent on the raccoon population.
And the possums too, right? Possums
kill just as many as the raccoons do, and there's plenty of those. And those 2 nest predators, it's going unchecked for the last 10 years since, you know, trapping has gone away. and the boom of, baiting for deer and deer hunting around here, I think that combination has made it so the very few turkey nests survive. And then once the poults are born, then they got to deal with the foxes and the coyotes, which is
That are also running rampant around here.
rampant because no one's hunting or trapping them either. So they're, I've gotten plenty of trail camera videos of foxes, stalking turkey flocks and, chasing after turkeys, and plenty of videos of them walking around with turkeys in their mouths. The competition up here in just this section of Northeast Ohio for them baby turkeys is just rough.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago when you shot this Jake, there was a huge flock of Jakes.
There's
around.
10.
There was 10 in the group. You shot one. Obviously the rest survived through the season around here and made it into summer. You would think with those 10 Jakes in 2021 that we would have, or 2022, that we would have more gobblers around this year, but there's none. There's literally none. I haven't seen anything about the outfitter posting a bunch of big dead gobblers or anything. So
They killed one
if they
Jake,
were
I think.
successful, I think we would hear about it. They would like to advertise that. They've killed a Jake, I believe. I mean, it's bad. And I've been trying to get some guys. I've been trying to get Austin Hintz on this pod. I bother him about every 3 or 4 days. He's a better turkey hunter than we are. Hunts a little bit south, more open areas. And I know he's probably got some thoughts on the population. He's been sending me some Snapchats about how there's just less birds than what he's even used to. And he's the master at finding them. He's killed birds a couple states this year already.
His photos are awesome too.
He's won a bunch of photo contests with his photos. I actually won this T-shirt in a photo contest this year. Just saying, won the Lone Wolf custom gear
Wearing Canadian t-shirts.
shed hunting competition. I got a free T-shirt and a sticker pack and $100 off a purchase. So I'll probably be buying a Lone Wolf stand this fall.
Nice.
But yeah, back to the turkeys.
There's no turkeys. That's the thing.
It's just, back in the day, we talked about it with the Turkey Stories podcast, and we talked about it a little bit about how the gobbler hunt around here used to be awesome.
Oh yeah. Call a bird in, and then there's 6 of them.
Yeah, and we would,
Running at
you had to choose which gobbler in the morning, wherever they're gobbling at, whichever ridge around here, you had to choose which one you want to go after. And if that one got away with some hens, you just went for the next one that's still gobbling in a field somewhere, just crawling with gobblers. And I would say around between 2008 and 2016-ish is when that was all going down. And then from 2016 to now, every year there just seems to be less and less. There's been years where there's maybe only one on the farm, or, maybe only one on each side of the farm. And then here we are this year.
With none. I think the decreasing grasslands, big fields with houses going in, developments going in.
Yep.
I think that plays the biggest factor.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a
No
huge
turkeys.
part. And then, just like I was saying about the fields being chisel plowed and just being left mud. There's no cover or value in those fields over the entire course of the late fall into winter into early spring. And then, right around the time that the birds are out starting to nest and breed is when they plant them again and till them up. So all that space is wasted for turkey habitat the entire year, except for summer, when they can be out there hiding in the beans and eating in the beans. But there's not a lot of birds getting to that point.
No, when I killed my deer the last day of season in Ohio, there was 30 turkeys in front of me, just putzing along like a flock. Just
Yeah, I had multiple times where I was hunting that buck, that 10 point. I was hunting at the end of last year. I was getting on every day. A flock of turkeys is coming in and just messing up my corn pile, just taking corn like crazy. But there was no gobblers in it. There was a bunch of hens and some jakes. There was some jakes and a bunch of hens, but no longbeards. But we have some hens around. I'm getting hens on trail cameras every day, every other day or so. But it's just the same places that they've always been. The same, they say hens live a long time. They can live 10, 15 years in the wild. Same hens from over the years. It's the interesting part to me is, are they getting bred? Somehow they would have to be getting bred, but from where? How far are they traveling to find a gobbler and then come back and nest, by our pond or something? How long of a distance are they traveling to find a gobbler? Because there hasn't been a gobbler up there yet. Got trail cameras all over, listening every morning.
yeah, but a turkey can walk probably 5 to 8 miles in a day.
I think they
An
can,
unchecked hen.
especially they can in open ground. But these hens here would have to cross a lot of roads. I don't know. It's tough. I guess we'll know if you see any poults running around on our farm that, obviously they did get bred this spring, but they say jakes can't breed either. It has to be a longbeard. So I'd be interested to see. I'm going to start going out. Things shift around during turkey season around here. Every couple of weeks back in the day, a new gobbler would move in, old gobbler would move out. There'd be a lot of movement with birds. So we might get lucky later in the season, maybe have a couple birds move in
Yeah, we
towards
still
the end of the year.
25 days left of the season?
No, it closes the 19th, and today's the 5th. So we got,
2 weeks.
less than 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks exactly today. From today, it closes. So 14 more days left in Ohio. Pennsylvania goes till June.
I think me and Dylan are going to Pennsylvania on Friday.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Weekend.
And then we're going the weekend after, for sure.
For the full weekend, though.
Yeah.
We're just going to go Friday through Saturday.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we're
Dylan, we were trying to get Dylan on the podcast, and I think he's been running around so much that his wife made him stay home. He ended up killing a bird in Pennsylvania opening day.
Yep.
I wanted to get him on here to talk about that. We've been trying to kill birds as a group up there now for, at least 4 or 5 years. We've been hunting every spring, spending multiple trips to PA to try to kill bird. We've gotten close a bunch. We've had some bad seasons up there where we came and buy gobbles, but we've been getting close a bunch. And their population in the area we hunt lately has been going up. It seems there's more and more gobblers, so it's fun to travel up that way and get a crack at one. Last year we were so close on those 2 birds that entire day, and Dylan actually killed his bird this year in a different area. So
Yeah.
those ones are still,
North of where we were.
those ones are still theoretically around.
A lot of pressure, though. Public land. Anyone
Yeah.
can use it, obviously, but a lot of
Pennsylvania.
hunters.
A lot of people. There's more birds. And I've quoted this I think before, but I think it's true that there's more birds in the state of Pennsylvania than any other state, or more birds get killed in the state of Pennsylvania than any other state. I guess you could fact check that real quick, but and I believe it because the habitat's really good up there. A lot of mature hardwoods, a lot of brushy river bottoms for them to nest in. Ag fields where guys can reap them and all this stuff is not part of most of the terrain up there. Pennsylvania's got rules where you can't do that. I think Pennsylvania specifically states you have to call birds in. I believe you're not allowed to stalk or reap birds. So. The old school calling the bird in is the only way to do it up there, and it seems to be working. Their population is great. Every time we go up there in the spring, we see and hear gobblers, even if we're on fishing trips.
Oh, yeah. Pitching down across the river.
Yeah, there's always been birds up there, so they're doing something right. Kentucky's doing something right. Southern Ohio seems to be doing okay. I know there's been a lot of guys that I know on social media successful in Southern Ohio so far. So Southern Ohio's doing well as well, but just up here in this section in Northeast Ohio, it's as bad as it's ever been. And it's just unfortunate because I really enjoy spring turkey hunting. I was looking forward to doing some spring turkey hunting on the farm this year, and
There's just none.
there's just
nothing
none.
you can do.
There's nothing you can hunt, nothing you can do about it. Our fields all got planted, both sides. Moving on from turkeys a little bit, kind of getting into some habitat stuff. It's spring food plot season. I did get my screening sprayed. Everywhere I wanted to plant screening has been sprayed. I did order food plot today, by the way. We ordered from Domain.
Gotcha. Okay, so I got the numbers. Missouri is number 1
Okay.
with 317,000 eastern turkeys with 47,000 getting harvested. Georgia's number 2, and then Pennsylvania's number 3.
How many get harvested in PA?
41,000.
Okay, so it's close.
Yeah.
It's real close. So yeah, I guess the northern state-wise, Pennsylvania is number 1 then. So yeah, I guess my statement I've been making lately is partially true. So getting onto the habitat stuff now, kind of moving away from turkeys because we've exhausted that. I got my screening sprayed. We're going to do a little bit less food plots on the farm this year than we have in the past. I'm going to plant clover chicory in our main plot on the north side and our main plot on the south side. The Seafield plot's actually going to be just ag. The farmer planted it in beans, and then we'll probably buy an acre or so in the corner off of him. Come fall and just have him standing. We did order from Domain Seeds this year. I've used a different company pretty much every year, but I like to use smaller companies if I can, and not just go to buy Whitetail Institute from the feed store if I can help it. Even though Whitetail Institute isn't that bad quality wise, I was not impressed with the Big and Beastie or Deadly Dozen. Sorry, not Big and Beastie.
Yeah.
The Deadly Dozen we used last year. I mean, it came in okay for what it was at the time, but I know it's a crop you have to plant every year, but I added some clover in with it and stuff, hoping that I'd be able to frost seed and just get some clover out of it, and none of my clover took. So, a little bit rough in that regard. I don't know if
wasn't a big fan.
I don't know if I'd plant that again. But I did order like a brassica type blend from Domain to spread into the beans as soon as the leaves start to pop. I'll spread brassica seed in and scratch it up a little bit, so maybe we'll get some late summer brassicas growing up inside the standing beans. Is the plan for that food plot. My main large food plot that I've had in a couple different things over the years. I actually had the farmer take about half an acre of that food plot and put it into corn. So then the food plot actually got a little bit smaller, so there's less of an area. Probably
really
only
help
about
us.
an acre now that I had to plant. It used to be two. It used to be a little over 2 acres, and every year the farmer's taking more and more of it, and then he's taking pretty much all he can at this point. So I'm going to be stuck with that 1 acre of, open area. I'm going to plant some screening in front of it. Pretty excited to get that stuff in the ground in the next couple weeks. I still got to do a big spray job on the bigger food plot, but.
Luke got his food plot ready
Yep, Luke got his
on
food
his
plot
satellite farm.
on the farm where he killed his 147-inch buck last year. He's actually been doing a lot of scouting over there this spring. He's gone over there and mapped pretty much every trail system, been marking every bed that he's found. He definitely found all the beds where, well, he obviously was filming the buck in his bed when he shot him that day, but he's found the network of beds around that area and the trails coming in and out so he can properly hunt them with the right winds. He got his food plot tilled and in all in one day. Right as the farmer was getting the crops. I'm pretty sure, I don't know what the farmer planted over there. He might have planted corn.
I think it's corn again.
We'll find out.
Beans No, it's corn last year.
The south side was corn, the north side was beans. So I think they're going to flip flop them this year. But Luke should have a good season over there. He's well prepared to repeat on that buck. His second biggest buck it's his biggest archery buck though. So. I've been seeing a ton of deer around here. I got bachelor groups of bucks using every area on the farm.
There's deer everywhere. You
deer.
could throw a stone in the woods and hit a deer.
Yeah, maybe the gods will be nice to us with having such a bad turkey hunting experience this year that the deer hunting will be off the charts this year.
Yeah, Steve Ranella says this is the mecca of deer hunting. This time period we're living in right now is the best deer hunting has ever been ever.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, there's more deer now than there was when the Pilgrims came, because of habitat and stuff and everything we're doing to make the deer hunting better. I could definitely see that.
I read his book, The Deer Hunters of 1765 to 1772. Or something.
How was it?
It was good.
Anything interesting out of it?
Not really, just historical tales of Daniel Boone making his way across the country and killing deer and what he did and how to survive it.
I had a guy comment on Reddit the other day saying that he read that you shouldn't eat deer that are killed in the summertime.
Because of worms or whatever? I heard that.
I've heard that before too, but I mean, I would think if you got it butchered, cooled off, and cooked properly, it wouldn't matter.
No, I don't think so.
You know what I mean?
You butcher anything.
They just not eat deer in the summertime back in colonial times. I mean, they were opportunistic feeders, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
they
had to have.
They didn't care.
I don't think they did. Of
Hunting
course,
deer.
they only lived to be 40 anyway.
That's
so
true.
I guess there's that.
But modern
You can't
medicine's
see
different.
it on the video because it's behind the camera, but Isaac's got his deer mount back from Joey Pavlovich. Looks really good. It's actually growing on me how much it looks good up on the wall up there. It's got some chocolate bases on his antlers that I really like. Real good buck, 4-year-old, definitely a good 4-year-old buck. Almost 140. He scored like 137 or 138, somewhere around there. Obviously, he has potential. He could have been a stud in another year or two, but you can't let a deer like that pass in this climate up here. We're not at the point where we can pass 4-year-old bucks yet. I know that all the cool social media hunters are now starting to hunt 5- and 6-year-old bucks.
Good for them.
I remember when I started with social media back in internet forum days, like a 3- and a 4-year-old is what everyone went for. That was considered waiting for a mature buck, like 3- and 4-year-olds. But now it's 5- and 6-year-olds.
Good for them. Hope they're happy. We're happy with our 3 to 4
A 4-year-old now is considered, well, if you got to 5 or if you got to 6. But none of that shit's guaranteed. We can't.
We live in a highly populated area where everyone hunts it for corn with a crossbow.
And a ton of deer get hit by cars. When I was shed hunting this year, I found a bunch of car-killed
3 nice deer.
Yeah, just what a shame. Half the deer in our shop on the other side of the butcher shop, the skull's hanging up her car hit deer. Just a shame. But yeah, today was a short one. Me and Ethan coming at you on a Sunday night. Just kind of doing some rambling, talking about our trips.
I'm so excited for early season Kentucky this year.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more early season Kentucky deer hunting this year. It's going to be a very big operation. Dedicated cameraman, lots of hunters. We're gonna put on a very impressive Kentucky
Deer
camp this year, I think, to start off the Deer Camp Chronicles. I'm definitely looking forward to that. We have plenty of videos coming over the late summer. Isaac's Western Series comes out where Dylan killed his mule deer. Isaac missed an elk. Isaac missed a mule deer, maybe two, and some antelope.
Speed goats.
And we're going to do the backstory on all the bucks that our group killed this year because we got a bunch of backstories that weren't shared in the Deer Camp Chronicles. That's kind of the draw of the Deer Camp Chronicles show is it's all right now what we filmed, everything that's going on, and we don't touch on the past very much, but we're going to go back this summer and be able to touch on the past of Isaac's buck. We got sheds from him, the match set from last year actually that I found. We got Luke's buck we got history with. We got a little bit of history with Nick's buck that we ended up figuring out later after the fact. So lots of cool stuff coming.
If there's anything you guys want to see, let us know. We can try to film it. We're going to do some product reviews. We're going to do some.
Yeah, I did get a Driver Gear Bino Harness product review out last week. So you can check that out if you're at the Bino Harness market. We also have the marsupial review on there as well. I got a couple of trail cameras that are sitting there. Then I got to do a review on the Bog Clandestine. I really want to do the review on that because I really enjoyed that trail camera.
Yeah, it's
it
nice.
ended up being a really good purchase by you.
For like $40.
We should have bought 10 of them. We literally should have bought 10 of them at the time. We didn't know if we were going to like them or not, and we love them. The ability to check the screen in the woods on a big screen, not have to worry about card readers, just pop it out and check the camera is
Nice.
awesome.
On the way into the woods and out.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Same day.
We're going to do some archery stuff. It's going to be brought to you guys.
Yeah,
you and
Isaac
Isaac
are going to nerd out pretty hard on the archery stuff.
Yeah, they're
going
gonna
to
do
new
some-
bows. My new bow.
nerdy archery stuff with Isaac wants to do the 300 frames a second, film the arrow flight type stuff and go over the new vanes they're using in the new bow and all this stuff. So that's going to be coming down the pike. I don't know what we'll have for you guys next week. We haven't really decided. We got a bunch of guests kind of lined up. We just got to coordinate schedules and get them on here. We got some habitat guys. We got a couple food plot guys. We got a trout fisherman lined up. We got the breaking point guys lined up. So there's a bunch of guys we have lined up to be on the podcast. I think you said you talked to Jacob Emery.
Yeah.
You're going to try to get him on the podcast. He's a turkey hunter down in the Kentucky area.
He's killed a lot of birds this year, too.
He's killed a lot of birds this year. So we got some guests coming up for you. Appreciate you guys listening to me and Ethan sit here on a Sunday night as we're balls tired to get this podcast done. I got to go home and mess with it on the computer after this. But if you have anything you want to hear, have us go over in the future. Just leave us a comment. Let us know. And until then, Deer Shot Podcast, episode 41. We're out.